There is a mystical and magical harmonious dance of the indigos, the starseeds, all of the cosmic wanderers. And so in this video, we are exploring a tale of collaboration and choice. We'll look at the various generation of the indigos, the starseeds, basically all the cosmic wanderers, because not everyone uses those names, and how they've collaborated over generations of what we call time. And a crucial point to consider is that there are no chosen ones, only individuals who choose to assist and serve in times of great need. And by examining the bigger picture, we can comprehend how this intricate mosaic has been laid out as part of a galactic strategic initiative aimed at assisting in this paradigm shift of consciousness. And the radiance of enlightenment illuminates the realization that each person who knows, believes that they have a sacred mission is a crucial component in the vast cosmic strategy. Furthermore, I'm going to expose the fallacy of the concept of what many have said are the chosen ones or the golden ones, and why we must be leery of those who use such terminology. So, to step into the power of this moment, please close your eyes if you can. Move into the eternal now and imagine that we're gathering around the sacred fire again, the eternal flames of this sacred fire. And what we're doing is we're basking in its radiant glow, for it illuminates not only the night sky, but also our souls. And in this enchanted space, we are transported to primordial times where tales of wonder and magic were woven into the very fabric of our existence. The warmth of the fire caresses our spirits, beckoning us to share stories of our journeys and quests. Let's explore how the various generations of indigos, the star seeds, all the cosmic wonders, because there are many who haven't and don't really go by those names. But that doesn't mean that they aren't that. It's just these are words, these are descriptions, and how there's been this large collaboration over what we call time. So for many generations, far more than I think many know, those that we now coin as the indigos, the star seeds, the wanderers, they've been dropping in. And what we've been dropping into is in the Earth timeline. And then there are those of us that actually do recall and know and were there present in the timelines of Terra and Gaia as well. And we could say each generation or cycle, each soul stream of consciousness has their varying sacred missions that they're there in that time frame to unfold and unleash within that specific incarnation. And each mission builds upon the other. So we could also say that each generation builds on the other. And what I see in visions is that it creates this gigantic tsunami leading up to the time we're in now, an end cycle. This means an end cycle of this is the time when people have choices to make. What path do you choose is really this larger question that people are facing. What we have now are collective workings of all the beings that were in what we call April 4 time, or we could even say future time, of those that were able to actually launch their mission. And we can paint a far grander picture than any time before now. And there have been some major hurdles for many beings that have come, the soul streams of consciousness that have come in through the wanderers, the cosmic wanderers, into this Earth timeline. And if we take into perspective the last 100 to 200 years, it's when I see huge influxes began, really to get ready for this time right now. And of course, this time right now will continue for some years, of course, but it's all part of a big picture. And the unfortunate part that we have to talk about is that the EVIL from other realms and then their human puppets that they've either ensnared or the ones that choose willingly to go on the negative path, they have very much taken truth. They've distorted it. They've inverted it, flipped things upside down. And this continues to be the case. Yet the reason that there are so many Indigo Starseeds wanderers right now is because it is to break through those inversions and flip things right side up again, so that we're not living in the upside down world anymore. And if you've seen Stranger Things, wonder where they got that idea. So many souls that came here with sacred missions for some generations, and now what has happened is some didn't get to launch those sacred missions because the veil has been very thick of lies and manipulations. And many powerful ones that came in didn't firmly believe what they were here for, or were and still are being disempowered to think that they're not something more. And perhaps at one point, like we all do, you've also sat and you've thought, wait, I couldn't be here for that. I mean, people already think I'm crazy. If I come out and say things like this, what are they really going to think? Well, they can use crazy, they can use whatever disempowering word. So what that does is that shuts down people. And that's challenging. Yet one reason I exist, and of course there are others, is to share with you that you need to unleash your truth because you are part of something that needs your magic. And I'd like to provide one example that was a huge inversion of truth, and I think that it still has some hold today. It's what has been called or coined the New Age movement. It holds deliberate misinformation and falsities that fueled what I would call a very spiritually narcissistic way of looking at things, and this was by design. To me, it's the same as the Bible. There's truths that were left out and things that were inverted and flipped to suit the power hungry men that were taking orders from these otherworldly, nefarious beings. And in fact, that's why the oldest versions of that book that we call the Bible isn't supposed to be really read like a book. It holds hidden codes, hidden words, and these kinds of things, these truths were woven in so that those that could truly see to be able to break through the false religions that have this hold on divinity and see the truths within. So luckily this is becoming more and more and more unveiled. And this is the trick that these factions, negative factions use is they take truths, they distort them. So it's like cutting off, here's the end of the spell that you really actually need. And humans don't realize, and it catches people into the cycle. And so I didn't have these words in my 20s to describe the inaccuracies, but I felt them. So what stuck out to me is that the new age stuff it forbids the belief that there could be things that went awry in our realm, that there isn't an otherworldly nefarious faction that hijacked timelines, and that there are many manipulations of truth stating that all that happens is merely just a design to teach you and to move the individual forward spiritually. Yes, there is truth in the aspects that there are catalysts in our journeys, all unique to each of us, that are the learning points, they're choice points, they're important. But spiritual bypassing continues to ignore the extreme ancient EVIL that has taken hold of things here and in other timelines, Terra and Gaia. And so, what it will do is it will make people think that the horrific, unnecessary sufferings, utter despair, etc., that has taken place here is all part of the plan. This is just still supporting the bullshit of that sin, that we're born in that sin. We were born into sin, and it's, well, we caused it. I caused all of that. Sometimes true. If it's unnecessary, it's not true. Never has been true and never will be true. But what all of that thinking has done in that movement, so to speak, is just one example of how it 100% disempowers too many into thinking that whatever unnecessary suffering that they have faced, that it's their fault. So they're taking other people's trauma as their own. We can think of this in a lot of ways. Satanic things that are being uncovered, these kidnappings for what? Human trafficking is coming out more and more and more. And what that belief system would have you believe is that it's their fault. And truthfully, this makes my soul stream of consciousness want to vomit. It's horrible. So, as we can deduce together, this is totally and utterly disempowering humans, sending them in to some kind of like looping cycle, we could say, getting stuck and trying to figure out how someone else's trauma is their own. So, the time has come where we must reject the false teachings that were inserted by the EVIL and reclaim the original, reclaim the organic teachings that gives us power. I wanted to bring this up because it's critical. I think it's critical to note how things became hidden, got to the occult, which again is just a word that means hidden. It's nothing, it's not actually about anything else other than just hidden knowledge, really. And what I believe is that we can't heal what we don't look at. We can't heal what we refuse to see. So we need to see all of it so that we can heal it. And that's really the mantra that I've carried and I am carrying forward. Now, there have been powerful truths that have dropped in throughout what we call time. These are primordial teachings that we are uncovering more and more every day. And these aspects are held within our very DNA, put there on purpose so that as we evolve, as the purifying energies come through, more gets unleashed. So these memories held in our storage devices, aka DNA, are fully coming back online due to dragons coming fully back online, breaking through the false prison created by the EVIL. And this is happening faster and more every day in the physicality of our realm now. And it's unstoppable. But all these energies from other dimensions that we can't see in our everyday, but many of us are traveling into that by night, astral traveling, seeing, meditation. And these energies are coming from what we call Middle Earth, which isn't the middle at all. It's part of remembering wisdom that we held eons ago. And I have many stories that I can share of my own rememberings, and we'll do more of that as we progress. But I see that some 200 years ago, even, though, of course, these years aren't accurate either, so, but we'll just use that. There have been so many magical beings that were dropping in massive truths into our realm on how to heal, how to connect to the divine and stuff. Now, many of these were women sharing these truths, but they were hidden. But of course, we're finding them again, right? We just have to look a lot harder. That many of these shared truths then were taken out. The people were taken out, if you catch my drift, or their reputations totally destroyed. So the ancient EVIL ones and their human puppets, they've easily destroyed the scrolls, the ancient texts, etc. I have one example of something that I read about healing, like amazing healing information from 1899 that was covered up on purpose. By whom? The US government. What we can see is there's empires, there's the Vatican, there's the corporation that's in the Washington, D.C., there's the corporation, the British Empire, there's the corporation of the World Economic Forum. So pretending to be for the people, it's not true. So, if you'd like to read about magical humans that got shut down or their truth hidden or what have you, this book, Secret Life of Plants, this is magnificent. And this also allows you to step into the law of one in just such a real, powerful, beautiful way. Love that. So, I wanted to share that. Now, I've been in this realm of psychology that we've actually coined as marketing, but it wasn't supposed to be the marketing crap that you see today, the mainstream marketing things today. But I really stepped into that because it included so many wonderful things about that hook into my soul being, the creativity, the psychology, the human behavior, because what I really see it as is it's how do you understand human behavior to help them? Pretty simple, right? I wish more would actually get that. Anyway, how generations work together is actually, you can see how this mechanism has been utilized in the marketing world and how they've been coined in mainstream media, which of course is sourced by or sourced from EVIL. So you'll see many of these things in mainstream marketing blogs and such, like the greatest generation that they were born in 1901 to 1924. And then you have the silent generation, the artists born in 1925 to 1945. Then the baby boomers and the Gen Xers and then the millennials and then the Gen Z. And then they're calling them the Gen Alpha. So you have a lot of this stuff obviously that has been coined. Now, there's more insight that I don't like any of these labels I want to also share, but there's more insight that I want to share beyond the silliness of these marketing terminologies and what's behind these labels. And we can also then see how the EVIL has controlled and how this false prison system has controlled behavior and then really how we can dispel their spells. So the generational archetypes and the larger construct around it, if we look at also the economic conditioning and things around like other conditions around generations, there's actually an interesting book called The Fourth Turning by William Strauss and Neil Howe. And it threads some interesting things and looks at the yugas or the cycles of the wheel or the ages of time. Their words are different than mine, but it's an intriguing insight to look at. And then what we can do is I'm going to take this as always and then expand upon this in a much bigger picture. So I'm just going to share a quick picture here so that we can see what they were talking about in these generational archetypes in structure and the way that they built it out. So if we paint a picture of this intricate mosaic that has been laid out, part of this, if we look at the indigos, the starseeds, the cosmic wanderers, how there's been a grand strategic initiative aimed at assisting in each generational aspect and leading up into this paradigm shift of consciousness. But also, it's about mending the tear, the rip that has happened in all of creation. And what we're going to see is themes and ways in which how each influx of cosmic wanderers have worked in different times, differently and uniquely. But what I think we can also see is when we look at this is we can also see the impression of the EVIL ones and how it's affected cycles of people being born. And the missing element to a lot of this is seeing the truth that there has been a hijacking and how we can see how the hijacking has affected generations. Then how we move beyond those traps, we could say, that have kept higher from coming in. So no matter what generation we're talking about. Now, this book there's a section, a generation called the heroes. This correlates to what BS marketing lists have called the greatest generation. So if we look at that, they were good, like good little boys and girls, we could say, because if we think about it, they had already been indoctrinated into the first war on all of living creation, which was coined the first industrial revolution. They say revolution, I say WAR. Now, that whole time frame said to have occurred during the period from 1760 to about 1840. Let's just say. So by the time frame of 1900, you have generations that are already had been programmed, indoctrinated by the EVIL. So as this archetype image from the Fourth Turning book shows, that group had an idea of building out external, right? And then we look at these other ages, we start to see how things were shaped. Now, of course, there's a lot of cosmic wanderers coming in before this, but this gives us a really good visual and starts to really look at how we can see this bigger picture. In what this group calls there's the silent generation or this artist time frame, that they were really built upon this framework of improving. So you can think of the women's suffrage movement. That was in 1920. So that was within that time frame. And then the next, you have the baby boomer. And then the focus was the inner world. So what I see when I look at this bigger picture is I see things that were really beginning to shift. Inner world started to become more important. That means many had greater reflections. So this is Sophia. This is the goddess Sophia. This is wisdom. This is the truth coming in to break free. So more of these indigos, the star seeds, the wanderers started to go, something's not right, guys. So you can say that many in this time frame that were dropping in with sacred missions were setting up ways to start looking within, starting to take bold action, right? Women's suffrage was bold, and there were women, sacred rebels that were involved with that. And there were and are many sacred warriors, rebels, same word. Warrior as a word means guardian, protector. So that started to give a framework, a pathway to birthing then in the Generation X, which is actually where I fall if you look at this chart. You see, it was about breaking free, self sufficiency, being tough. So now you have more warriors coming in saying no to the system, breaking free. So if I were to do this analysis, obviously I would use very different words and I would have more spiritual insights on how the EVIL has gotten far worse. Since what we could say is that even in that hero time frame, but this image gives us some way to visualize what I'm speaking of here. So the point of this is that every generation of warrior, the Indigo Starseeds cosmic wanderers, came in and are coming in to break things apart, lift that veil more and more and more and more. And I'm going to, from here forward, call all of the generations and all of the times an army of light here on out. The army of light had different missions. For example, the silent or the baby boomers or the Generation X ages. So many of this time was about the power of transmutation. So many had come in with the aspect of transmuting the hugely negative cycles of damage. This is so many belief systems that were etched in being born in sin that sets you up to just talk about disempowering. So you're going to see that many have taken on these mystery illnesses that really ultimately is about helping to transmute on many levels. And actually, I'm one Indigo Starseed that did that, but only when I chose to say yes to my sacred mission. So if we were to expand on this visual, you'd see that the next phase, then you have the millennials, then you have Gen Z and what they're calling Gen Alpha, whatever. But what was happening, and as things evolved, you have underbelly being transmuted. Then there's this harmonic convergence in 1987. What I see is that people's livers started to even evolve. So the chemical WAR that we face in food, air, water for 150 years in a big way aren't affecting people in the same way anymore. And you're going to see that. But also it's because that harmonic convergence was also at a point where people could say, no, I don't wish to transmute, or yes, I do. So there were more options being given to the cosmic wanderers. Because again, the sacred mission is about assisting in some way. So the assistance and the ways that people are moving into sacred missions evolves and changes as needed. And what I see this as, you have this overarching founding guardian races going, okay, team 1, team 2, team 3. Okay, it's now. All right, go, go, go. You're in, you're in, you're in. Okay, you see what I mean? I get chills when I get chills because think about it at that level. Think about it at that level. So there is so much happening in each generation, and each army of light previous to this time frame transmuted much and still are. I'm included in this to evolve faster so that more and more and more and light can come in. The bigger point here that I want to share is you can see how this really is starting to play out, right? You can see where you have generational army of light beings and how this helps to frame things up. How do you need to be showing up? What do you want to do next? What are you here to do next? Some say their mission is over. That's all good. But I'm in that nomad that Gen X phase, as it says. I'm not done. I was born in the 70s. I'm just the tip of a very huge ass iceberg of my sacred mission. The elementeers to feel into your being. Where do you need to be? Where do you want to be? How do you need to assist? Or are you done assisting and really you're beginning to dig into a whole new phase to heal, just to be, just to hold space? Or maybe you're phasing in, like my phasing in is to assist the younger generations to break free faster, heal, just make sure everything's set up right so they can really launch some cool stuff, right? So you'll see when you think about it from this level and this magnitude, you see how big this is and how each generation has helped and assisted the next. So this brings me to my next point. You'll see many that are saying throughout, especially the New Age movement, but even now and even not within that movement per se, many people still speak of being chosen, that they're the chosen ones or that they're golden children or whatever. That is absolutely incorrect. And this is extremely dangerous. The reality is that no one is chosen. Not one person is chosen. No one is golden. We choose to be cosmic wanderers, to assist in lands like these during great times of need, and especially in octave shifts out of the old and spinning into new. Now, we aren't spinning into new as much as we're spinning into an organic, an origin, an original magic movement octave. And the reality is that these generations coming in, we have to realize it's not about being golden. It's about coming in with new sacred missions because of all of the generations working together to assist the next. And when you look at it from this huge strategy, when I look at it, what I see is that strategy and it's teams dropping in. So it's because, again, there's new ways of being because transmutation of much of the impact of the nefarious ones have been or are being transmuted through those of us that took that on previous. So here's the vital point to what I speak of here. We all have always and will always work together in one big, huge army of light. That is why I feel we must expose the fallacy of this concept of being the chosen ones or the golden ones. Anyone using this terminology, we must remain vigilant because I'm going to be bold here. Anyone that is saying those things is being negatively influenced by the otherworldly EVIL magicians and their low frequency magic. Why? Because what they're trying to do is even separate on these levels of the entire big mosaic of the army of light, right? Another divide and conquer strategy. That is their game. Again, we are now bringing more of the rule books of this game to light. So this army of light we are part of we're about assisting because every single human, if we're looking at this place right now, every single human, every single animal, plant, etc., deserves the opportunity to be joyful, to be happy, to have the opportunity to feel the most important thing in all universes of all of original creation magic, which is unconditional love. We are here to break down this EVIL more and more and more and get it out. We are done with this unnecessary suffering. So it is why we need to be clear of how we are using our words and protect our beings through our energy, through protection magic. I'm very serious about that because channels of energy, that's exactly what they did. They hijacked channels of energy, energetic frequencies, etc. And so we need to be diligent. So to all of my soul family tribes, diligent in protection magic of your energetic being. So no matter what time we look at, no matter what generation, for eons, I see sacred warriors. Warrior is, again, that word that means guardian, it means protector. So I see that in all humans that are here to bring forth that sacred mission, to assist humanity, to assist Earth, to assist all living beings, insects, animals, because there is so much to still support and things that are needed to continue this shift. And I say this because I want every single one of you, no matter what age you are, to know you are part of this army of light. Your role is and always has been critical, imperative, and it's never too late to launch your sacred mission or to evolve it and refresh it, or to know when to slow down and rest and just focus on healing or whatever that needs to be. Sometimes the role of someone in the army of light, they come here just to hold light in the field. It can be that simple. So don't think that you have to be changing the world. For as we know, the world does actually change when we change at the soul level, meaning individual level, because we emanate from the sacred spirit inwards to the outwards. The radiance of enlightenment illuminates this realization that each human who believes and knows that they have a sacred mission is a crucial component in this vast cosmic mechanism. So I hope that this helps you to awaken more of your magic. Please subscribe to get more videos that are meant to illuminate the path for indigos, the starseeds, and all the cosmic wanderers who are here with sacred missions to serve as the pioneers in this massive paradigm shift of consciousness. Together, we are remembering the original creation magic. Thank you so much for watching.